everybody. This is a call-in show. I hope that I'm on air. I know we've been having some technical support, so just kind of give me a nod that it's loading up and everybody can hear me. Yes? Is that correct?
We are live.
All right, thank you so much. And again, I really appreciate my audience and everybody that has sent me letters and people who've been in treatment with the people on staff and the mind map patients that I've been seeing personally. And as those of you who've partaken in this particular process, you all know that it is a journey from the darkness of the past through deconstructing all the pain and chaos and defenses of the here and now and breaking through into a better part two of your life. And so the way I view narcissism, again, I know it is a term that has been used quite a bit. I think if you Google the word narcissism online, you're going to have quite an upload of information from a mind map perspective. Narcissism is a system gone wrong, whereby the parents put their own needs before the needs of their own children. And we're going to put this in the context of sibling rivalry and how narcissistic parents compete with their own children, align themselves with their own children, divide and conquer their own children, and create a slew of problems. And this is a call-in show, everyone. So please do call in, because I know that there are lots of you out there suffering because you have brothers and sisters that you've been alienated from, and parents who enlist and enroll their golden children into their flying monkey campaign and then attack the other sibling. Was that a cue for call-in?
We do have a call in.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so we will continue this discussion in the context of what the Freud is going on in your life. Hello. And what is your name, please?
Hi, Dr. Judy. This is Robert.
Oh, hello. How are you? Nice to hear from you.
Nice to hear from you as well.
Thank you. So Robert, I know that you have definitely had your share of narcissistic abuse, and so tell me what is on your mind and how what's on your mind is relevant to what we're talking about today.
Right. It came up today that the topic was narcissistic parents as well as sibling.
Yes.
Discord, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. Well, yes. Well, I'm 41 and I haven't spoken to my sister in about 3 years, and it doesn't look like anything's going anywhere anytime soon. So it pretty much happened as long as I could remember, and I have vague memories of like being a baby and her throwing the bottle out of my mouth, and then as a pre-teenager, my mother would go over my aunts, and my sister and me would go in with my cousin who was about 20, and I was maybe about 7 or 8, and they would both kind of pretty much gang up on me and call me all these dirty, disgusting words.
Okay.
And I remember my dad was pretty much always negligent, and these were gay derogatory words, and they were pretty vulgar. And when I mentioned it to my mother, she pretty much mentioned it to my cousin, and I got, thrown under the bus more, and it got worse. So fast forward, that was then. It kept getting worse. Then there was a big split off. I went into a family business with my dad, who my sister wasn't there, but then she was having problems at work with her anger management issue and rage issues. He brought her into the family restaurant scene, and she just became this explosive creature of rage. She had to control everything in the restaurant, and my dad would feed off of her rage. So if she would get into a fight with somebody, he would automatically almost get I don't want to say get off, but she was his narcissistic IV, and
I'm sorry,
his
back up a
golden
minute.
child.
She was his
Yes.
narcissistic what?
IV, his supply, his
Okay.
I mean, she would help boost his sense of of seniority, of him being either the victim or she was his protector, and it became very a sick and pretty much towards the end a very violent dynamic when it came to me, because it just got worse. Yes.
So let's trace it back, because I know you know so much about the mind map. You've been through the journey, and we have talked several times. So you're a great example of how you can illuminate to other people how this rift happened between you and your sister, and how your parents were eventually inevitably the cause of the system gone wrong. So maybe start by explaining the alliance between your sister and your father and mother, and how they enrolled her to be this flying monkey against you.
Right. Well, my mother pretty much was the overt narcissist. You always heard about her complaining and her insults, whether it was towards me or towards my sister.
Okay.
And I pretty much remember my sister always either calling me names or pretty much being physically abusive growing up.
And I know they did nothing about it, correct? They did nothing about this.
They did nothing at all. And my mother actually was pretty much enabling it by just saying, oh, whatever, or, Rob, just shut up. And my dad always turned the other cheek, and he would always pretty much act like he didn't have time for it or he didn't care. I believe it was a combination of, but I believe he just didn't care. But then as the years went by, nobody told someone to just, either protect your, have respect for your brother. I pretty much was always scared of her. I don't have any memory of her being a kind and loving sister. And my father was always into pretty much just making money and either selling drugs or corrupting his business. So it was all about that. And my mother was pretty much always angry about something. So she needed all the attention. So
so let's do a little bit of mind mapping of this, because it could have gone the other way. Because one of the things that you mentioned is that at some point all of this was projected on both of you, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so how did it happen that you guys didn't align together against your parents, and how did the system turn around where she became attacking of you? When did that turn?
Well, it pretty much turned when we had a cousin, I could remember, and she always liked the cousin, and the cousin would say nasty things towards me, and she would kind of hurtle up with the cousin and just giggle and chime in. So it became a family dynamic.
Okay, so the concept of if you can't beat them, join them, right?
Yes.
Okay, so again, I'm tracing the system with you back to your parents, who were these injured people. They lacked empathy, And at some point, they were turning against the two of you. And then at some point, when your cousin got involved, it somehow turned against you in the sense that your sister joined the narcissistic dynamics here and got some kind of a relief by identifying with the aggressor, which is your parents, and acting out against you. Is that kind of how it went?
You know what? Yes, and I could think of one issue that both the parents projected a real disgust towards me, and it was pushed in with my sister, and that was when we had a family dog, and the dog bit me. I was around six or 7 years old, and they had to. My dad had to get rid of the dog, and he didn't want to get rid of the dog, even though it bit me. And when they did get rid of the dog, everyone kept saying we had to get rid of the dog because it bit Bobby. That's what they would call me. And then my sister was saying, "Oh, well, can't we keep the dog?" And my dad said, "No, this is what we have to do." And they pretty much did not want to get rid of the dog, but eventually they did, and it was just this dark cloud over me. So I could remember that being one of the key points. Before that, there were still some violent attacks, but never as much as could have been avoided.
Okay, and you were bonded to the dog, even though the dog bit you. You were bonded to the dog.
No, I was afraid of the dog, but I was just in the yard playing at it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was my dad's dog. It was much older.
I see.
And
Okay, so I want
nothing
people to understand through your example that you know, without getting really deep into it, because it would be hours of therapy, dissection, and so on, that basically your parents were two injured people, and at first they were attacking both of you, and then at some point your sibling modeled after them and started attacking you, correct?
Yes.
So this is what I mean by, pardon me?
There really wasn't that much attacking of my sister. Like, my mother would pretty much call her names based on her looks, but not so much attacking. It was always kind of geared towards me because I didn't fit the role of the son, where she was either, my mother would just be more insulting of her based on vanity. But with me, it was more projected on my personality and not being strong enough or tough enough. And she became more of the aggressor. And they liked that.
Okay. And so clearly this created a huge rift between you and your sister. It's been 3 years. And the problem in these family dynamics is that the fallout are usually the children, and then the siblings split. And then there's this huge disconnect, sibling to sibling disconnect. There are many ways things turn out. Sometimes the parents will select one child over another because one is a male, the other one is a female, or they'll select one child to dump on because that child reminds them of the parent that they divorced, the husband or wife that they divorced, and that person triggers all of these memories of the bad relationship. There are really thousands and millions of reasons why people project the way they do. But in essence, what's really happening is that the parents need to use their children in some way, shape, or form to release their inner pain. And in the narcissistic formula, what I notice is that the worse other people feel, the better they feel, at least for the moment. Do you notice that, Robert? The more they can cause
Yes,
pain, the better off. It's almost like they think that they're getting brownie points for this.
right. They enjoyed watching her scream at me. They enjoyed watching her um, put her hands on me. It was just like they had no empathy then, but then now as an adult, it got so violent in my adult years where I said this to a couple people that I never felt that much hatred projected onto me
Yeah.
other than when it was towards my sister. And it was to the point that I would just feel like this darkness in my stomach. She would just
Yes.
sit there and fuel with hate at
Mm-hmm.
the restaurant. And then when I couldn't read something, a ticket, because of my vision, she would just scream at me and put her fist in her mouth and then punch the wall. And there were several times that she was going to put her hands on me, and nobody in my family lifted a hand to even protect me. I just started to get health issues.
Let's dial it back to the inception, which is the panel one wounds, where your parents lack empathy, they lack parenting skills, they probably didn't give you the emotional goodies that make for healthy psyche. I'm going back to John Bowlby attachment theory, meaning that they didn't nurture, they didn't set boundaries, they didn't give you good enough parenting, they weren't fair and ethical about giving both of you unconditional love and attention. They didn't set a model of synergy, family synergy, which simply means a model of how people play a game of fairness and enhance each other's well-being. So somehow what happened is that, as I was saying, your sister identified with this bad blueprint, and then she copycatted it and projected it onto you. And now it's been 3 years that you're away from your family, correct?
Yes, yes.
And how are you
By
feeling?
choice. By choice. By choice.
By choice.
Well, first of all, yes. Well, I mean, I don't want anything to do with my sister in quotes, because she was never a sister to me. I don't have one good memory of her. I do have used to get nightmares about her, to the point that I would wake up in sweats, and I would feel my heart beating from just
Mm-hmm.
her screaming at me at the restaurant, and the fear of her just punching me. She used to say, "I hate you so much. I just want to rip your face off." And this was just from me coming back from vacation. So it became it really became like this criminal in the room. And the police department, even when I left the restaurant, a couple times she tried to hunt me down for like information, like what's the problem.
Robert, this just kept escalating and escalating. And when
Hmm.
when the program, the family system gone wrong, gets so dysfunctional, kind of like a computer virus, when the program is loaded with viruses in the sense of the human psyche, I call them psychoviruses, when there's just so much damage being injected into the system, particularly into their own children, and then from one to the other. Somehow, sometimes there's an overload and a short circuit, so to speak. And then at that point, there's a critical mass where it shifts, and it just feels like there's no return. And that's when people usually go no contact with their parents. And as you know,
Yeah.
most people uh, really wrestle with, should I contact? Should I go no contact? What should I do?
No
And my
contact.
answer, pardon me?
Uh, Absolutely 100% no contact. When
Yes.
it was for me especially, and you asked how it's been since I went no contact.
Yeah.
Well, I blocked both my numbers. There has been a lot of peace not having them in my life.
Yes.
However, I still get the dreams of just shadows of them, and then even knowing how bad it was for 3 decades, I'm still
Sure.
healing from that. So even when
Yes.
even when I am and still will be no contact, I still, in my subconscious, like in dreams, I see them through
Right.
shadows, and I still feel that intense emotion of
Mm-hmm.
my body just closing down, because when the attacks were coming towards me, I didn't
So,
know
so,
whether to
so,
run. Yes,
right, the fight and flight, and I know we have
yes,
spoken about it, and that you still have
hmm
this concern about your dreams, and we talked about PTSD and
shadows.
complex
Yes,
PTSD, old
yes,
unprocessed emotions, and dreams sometimes are our way of working out the pain. And as I've known you over the years, you definitely put a lot of boundaries around yourself, and you've attained a much greater level of peace, and your dog has a
yes.
lot to
Thank
do
you.
with it, right? And
My
and
sweetheart, she's in the other room.
your little sweetheart, and
Oh, I love her so much.
I know, and dogs are so healing. And one thing that I want to say to my audience is that sometimes when humans fail us, animals have that empathy that many humans lack. So I think a part of the antidote to narcissism is to have our animal soul psychological comforters, because they can offer a lot of empathy and eye contact and skin contact that we as humans and every living being needs to feel to feel balanced and healthy. So um, I'm gonna say this, Robert. I've seen so much growth in you, so much more peace in
Thank
you,
you.
and yeah, it's
Thank
true.
you.
It's really true. We've stayed in touch over the years, and I know for sure that your dog has been a part of it. And you know me, I love dogs. I'm a real animal lover, and I really recommend to my audience that if you're suffering from this, then consider getting a pet, because there's so many pets out there who don't have homes, who don't have love. And I believe in synergy. Panel number 7, if you don't mind putting that up. And panel number 7 can be had not only with other human beings, but it could be had between humans and animals, whatever animal is your animal of your choice. And we all need unconditional love. So that
Well,
is an easy, not easy because they need a lot of care and love, but that's one way to soothe the amygdala and and fill the hole in the soul in a good way with unconditional love. I'm gonna move on, Robert, because I know there are some people who did want to call in, and I have some more information that I
right.
wanted to put out. But I
Well,
know
when
you're.
when that I just wanted to say that when it's that violent and when it's that extreme, you have to it's you have to go no contact, because
Yeah.
I mean you could do labels of whatever, but you can't have sympathy for the devil, because they will do
Thank
it
you. You can't
over
have
and over and
sympathy for the
over.
devil. They do not change. Okay, so we're going to continue to be in touch, you and I, as we have been over the years.
Yes,
And thank you very much for calling in. And remember, can't have sympathy for the devil, because no matter how often you invite them back in, they just do their own game over and over again. So, okay, we'll be in touch.
you have a
Thank you,
beautiful
Robert.
night.
Okay, you do the
Okay.
same. Okay, good night. And so there's an example of a system gone very wrong. And is that another call in?
We sure do.
Okay, I will take that next call in. Hi, thank you so much for calling in tonight. And what is your name, please?
Wow, it's me, Reem. I'm calling from Germany. Yes, I
Oh,
got it.
thank you
Cool.
so much. And what time is it there? What time?
Uh,
What time in?
it's 5:31.
What time?
5:31.
In the morning?
5:30 in the morning. Yes,
My
I'm calling from
goodness.
Germany.
Well, that's
Yes.
motivation. Okay, so thank you for making the special effort to get up so early. And Reem, what is on your mind? And please make it relevant to tonight's topic, which is sibling
Of course, because
rivalry
it's
and narcissistic parents.
See, exactly. This is exactly my topic because I'm coming from a big family. So I'm the third child of them, and we are 6 girls. And I was the scapegoat.
Okay.
And my older sister was the golden child. She got always good grades and make everything right and pretty codependent and very, very weak inside. My second sister was strong inside, but my father, she was from my mother also the golden child, but from my father the scapegoat. So he beats her up and he treats her really, really ugly, ugly. And my mother was just looking. And I was the scapegoat from my mother, but from my father the golden child because I was very strong. Yes.
Okay, so do you see how everybody has their own way of managing their emotions, and so one parent might pick on one child, the other will pick on the other child, and the theme is it's all about them getting their toxins out of their system onto you, or enrolling you to make them the most important. And so it kind of goes like this. If the mother is enlisting one child to be the golden child, then they have to comply with the demands of the mother, correct?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And the fourth one was the mascot. She always tried to make fun and something like that. And the fifth one was just the invisible one. Yes. And then after 12 years comes the sixth one, and that's it. But what I like to say is there is I was able to detect all the lies, and I was disgusted by it. And
really, when
yes.
Reem, when did you catch on?
Nothing. Just myself. And I knew the truth. I can see the truth. And I was talking to myself, to the inner voice of myself, and asking, always questioning, is that true? Am I crazy? But no, I can see. She's not my mother. Never, ever this. And the first conscious question I ask her, please do me one favor and tell me the truth. You're my stepmother, isn't it right? Please tell me. I can get along with it, but I never believed that you are my mother.
And was that true? She was your stepmother? Is that true?
No.
But you didn't really want. You wish she was your stepmother because you didn't want your real mother to be that way, correct? I can understand that.
I couldn't understand, no, because she was so cold and she had no feelings at all, and she was so detached and no love at all. Okay, also for the other ones, and that's why I didn't understand why they buy into it, and I never ever did it, and she hated me. She really hated me so deeply. Oh my God, and everybody just watched and nobody wants to admit the truth. Till now, we are right now in our late 30s, beginning of the 40s, because we are one year from each other away. And till now, everybody doesn't want to wake up to the lie and to the spider web. It's a spider web she webbed.
It's a spider web. Right. And there's an agenda. The agenda is to silence the truth teller because there's some kind of a gain that the system is engaged in. And the gain is usually some sort of gain for the parents, that if they get to project their feelings onto their children, again, they're going to feel better. If they pit one child against the other, the game is let's eliminate the competition, right? Let's eliminate.
Exactly. But also, I didn't buy into the competition. I tried to wake my sisters up till now, but they at the beginning they didn't want to hear anything about it, and they beat me up and something like that. Then I ran away with 16 years old, and then I always every 2 years I tried to talk about it, to hey, come on, listen to this, come on, here's a movie, and they blocked me. They couldn't handle anything.
Of course, because you see, this is how systems are, whether they're functional or dysfunctional. When they're dysfunctional, it's based on non-integrity. It's based on lies and misperceptions. It's a system built incorrectly, but yet it's hobbling along. It's functioning in its own right, however it's functioning. And the threat is that
my question is, why did they submit themselves to this? Because it was so obvious. It was I rather die before I live a lie like this. You know what I mean? It was a big one. It's a huge one.
So that's a great question. Why? There are several answers to this question, but think about some kind of game. Okay, so first of all, most children will protect. First of all, most children will protect the parents. They don't want to bust the lie because on some level,
they never ever were parents. They faked it. We were the parents. They couldn't write, they couldn't read because they come from Tunis and we live here. We were all born here in Germany, and we did everything for them. We did mediate in between them because they didn't get along. We did all this stuff for them. It was also not just narcissistic. It was also, how do you say that word? Enmeshment. It was incest, emotional incest. What they did. It was really. I'm so disgusted by it, and till now I don't understand why my sisters don't want to wake up to this.
Because I'll just give you one possible way of looking at it is that people really, really want to preserve their parents at any cost. At any cost, they don't want to lose the parent. Okay, and this is deep in our conscious and unconscious and our collective unconscious. We all want a mother. We all want a father. And I do several videos on
be an empty shell, an empty, hollow being.
Even if it's a empty shell, they still want to uphold this figure, the mother figure and the father figure. And part of, I think, why you're seeing the truth so well is because you ended up being the parents of the parent. As you said, you were parenting them. They were weak. You had to take over certain roles. So in some sense, again, the tables got turned, but not every child is, not every child is strong enough to say the emperor has no clothes. The emperor has no clothes. You know that story about the little boy and the emperor, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Not everyone wants a truth teller.
But and do you see? Also one thing. First of all, I really, really like your approach and your insight. Absolute. And I can sense that you see the bigger picture. Can we talk a little bit about the bigger picture? Because now I'm a grown up,
Okay, so let's spread the lens, okay? Because we want to go from micro to macro. Thank you for that question.
Yes.
And so we want to step back and meta. By meta, I mean just kind of like be an observer of the system gone wrong. And obviously this did not start with your mother and father. Your mother, your father had parents and their parents and their parents and their parents.
I know.
And as Dr. Murray Bowen stated, I'm so admiring of his work around the concept of the multi-generational transmission process, meaning that parents transmit their psychopathology, their blueprint, as I like to call it, to the next generation, and then it trickles down. And the way I see it is that if your parents didn't heal and they passed it down to your siblings, and then your siblings didn't heal, they're going to pass it down to their family. So we have to start at the inception, and that's why I call this whole process Be the Cause, because when we're unconscious and we're at the effect of our family system gone wrong, we're at the effect of, and the whole point of the mind map system is to turn the system around 180 degrees and bust the lies and the misperceptions and the incorrect structure of the system, which is really backwards, meaning it's all about the parents, it's all about their feelings, and turn it back around that you put yourself in the position of, I am valuable, I'm an agent, and I matter. And so, okay, go ahead.
Even if you understand all this, now you are grown up, you go out into the real world, and you find the same. You find the same with the government. You find the same with the political institutions.
100%.
You find the same with
100%, because again,
and everybody wants you to submit to their lie now.
Because I talk about this every single day, because this whole mind map started with a macro project called Join the Human Race. I've talked about it before. It was not a psychological system invention. The purpose of the original mind map is to heal global disconnect. And first of all, I didn't know how to do that one. That's a pretty ambitious project. And then I figured out really that in order to heal global disconnect, we have to heal human disconnect, individual disconnect. So you're 100% correct. And if I don't say it every day of my life, I'll eat my hat. I say it every day of my life, sometime in the conversation. I always tell my patients, look what's happening on a micro level, and let's expand it globally. And now we have a lot of broken people projecting their pain onto each other, and now it turns political, and it turns sociological, and now we've got what I call big isms of politics, isms of races, isms of nationalities, isms of religion, ism.
It's
okay,
the isms mind which is so divided.
Pardon me?
It's a sick mind which is so divided and so sick.
Correct.
And it's in from the beginning of the time.
Okay, so let's expand what you're saying, and thank you for bringing it into a bigger light, because if we're going to be talking about sibling rivalry, let's go ahead and do a macro picture and the sisterhood and brotherhood of man.
Exactly. Now countries are in war. Now countries
we are at war. So no longer
against each other. And how do you say? Ethnicity are against each other. We are white. We are black. We are Muslim. We are Christianity. You know what I mean?
Correct. And that would be, I'm just pointing to my mind map. It's up there. Panel number 5, and maybe Tony, if you could put panel 5 up there so people can see it. Okay, that's my panel of isms. Ism. Racism, religionism, politicalism, nationalism. Okay.
It's a lie. It's a huge lie because we all were the truth inside of us, the spark of the beginning of life itself. And we should connect and unite because we are all alive and we all have the same.
That was my intention, and the intention of the mind map was to become connected to our humanity and the
what I saw in you.
Right, and the purpose was
it because it's so obvious, it's so in your face that everybody is ignoring that. And like you say, normally it's so simple to heal. You have just 10 hours and check this all and then go out and spread the message, but nobody is doing it.
Nobody's doing it because we need to be psychoeducated that at the core of us, before we're Black, white, Chinese, American, German, Jewish, Muslim, at the core of us, those are labels and institutions, and they're supposed to, in some way, I guess, support a system of ethics and morals and so on. Okay, and if they do, great. I'm signing up. Okay. However, if the isms are going to be used to clash and bash and destroy the human race, that's where we're misusing the isms. Okay, it's a misuse of the isms, and so yes,
it's a war against love. They can't handle love. They don't want to, and they worship the lie, the illusion, the empty hole. And if you don't comply,
by the way, I hope all of you grab a copy of my book, Be the Cause: Healing Human Disconnect, because the metaphor that I use, which Reem you're pointing to, is that it's a bunch of lies and illusions, just like in the book The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy's going to Oz, and she has an illusion that the wizard is going to make everything good, okay? And all of the power actually ended up being in her. So in this journey of the mind map, or in this wake-up call to humanity, so to speak, we have to understand that, back to the topic, sibling rivalry, why do parents or society set up sibling rivalry? To divide and conquer, the weaker we are as individualisms in a system, the stronger the leaders or the top level and the system can rule over us, because now we're dysfunctional and we need to codepend on a system gone wrong. It's really, really sick. I know we got pretty big in our macro view here, and my original idea was, let's analyze it on a micro, but it's impossible not to see the macro system gone wrong. So one of my dreams is that people could, and all of you can already start doing this, and this is my dream, is we need to stop saying the Black person did this or the white person did this, and we just are people, okay? And if something did something that you don't like, just to say, Henry, I don't like that you did this, and please accept responsibility so that we can reconnect with each other, okay? So rather than pointing to our isms, let's hold ourselves all accountable and join the human race and have a big picture that our intention is to relate to each other.
What do you think about that? If we go back to the source, isn't it the first fault to see your parents as authority?
Yes.
This is doch they are no more power much. They don't have more power than you got. You have something.
But Reem, when you're a little baby, okay, I just want to make this point. When you're a little baby, you're looking up. You're looking up to your parents, and you don't know.
I don't think that you look up. You look to exchange something. You don't look up in the first place just because you're a little baby. No, sorry, I don't believe into that. You try to exchange. And because we think we should look up because we are use our mind. In this case, the mind is wrong. It's not your right mind. It's a wrong mind.
So let me address what you're saying. It's true. When you're a baby and you're attached to your mother, there is an exchange.
Yes.
And that's very pure. It's unconditional love, human connection.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I understand what you're saying. What I mean by look up is that we as children give our parents the benefit that they're the boss. Mother knows best, father knows best. Okay.
Oh, that's the first, and this is didn't do. I instead said no. I don't.
Okay. Well, you are an exception because most of the people buy in, and that's the problem. They buy into concepts like
they give up for lies, for nothing. This is no exchange. Yeah. This is a losing game.
Well, thank you. I mean, yes, you are shouting out the truth, and most people are caught like a dolphin. You see, they're caught in the net of lies, and I can't tell you, Reem, how many people come into this office and really believe that they're stupid and ugly and not worth anything. Okay.
Into a lie because they couldn't stay. The first truth which you encounter in this life is also you are alone and you are everything. You don't need anybody. You have everything.
Well, you're seeing something that you're seeing something that most people do not see. And that's an exception to the rule. It's an exception to the rule when a little girl or a little boy, let's say 4 or 5 years old, says to mommy, there's something wrong with your parenting skills. Are you crazy to put your child down like that? Most children will not. They will not. They'll just bow their head and cry and say, my mommy says I'm stupid. My mommy says I'm a loser. My daddy says I'm a failure. And they swallow the poison.
I'm crazy. If you are normal, I'm crazy because I'm different. So what?
Well, good. I'm glad you are. And that's where the mind map is trying to get people is to bust the lies. Okay. So thank you for sharing the truth as you see it. Okay. And you are not confused, and that's why the less we're confused, the higher our mental health goes. Okay, because when we fall into these cracked lens of perception, when we fall into the hole in the soul, when we buy into the system gone wrong, this is where we lose our sisterhood, our brotherhood. We lose our way.
Can I ask you a personal question about my sisters? And I like to ask you, do you think right now I'm 40 years old, and do you think, and my sisters, the first 2 ones are 2 years older, and the next 2 ones are 2 years younger. So I'm in the middle. And do you think it's too late for them to? Because I want really, I don't want to give up on the how do you say, on the urge to help them to see it like it is. Do you think there is a possibility that they still have the chance to wake up, or is it already and done? And should I give up on that? That's my, that's
a great question. And I think the answer is that you can do whatever you can do without judging them, blaming them, taking a one-upsmanship position, and just straight out.
everything because I feel for them, and I really just want them to see it once and then make whatever you like, but you have to see it once for what it is.
Okay, so I have an idea, and this is a simple one and a free one for you to share with them the PDF copy of my book. It's free, okay? And just make a request of them to get a little bit of information. And if they choose to open their eyes and see and question and start questioning their view of themselves, their view of the world, their view of you, then
I was trying that from the beginning with how do you say, always psycho if you want to through movies, through music, through art, I was always sending a piece and look at this and look at this, but always they blocked me, and then it took 2 years, then they come. Then they come over again.
I just want to say the narcissistic shell, the narcissistic defense is they won't let in the light. So you're asking me, you're trying to be the light to them. You're trying to give them information so that they can grow.
Yes.
You're trying to give them information so that you could be a family again. And for whatever reason, and this is where they would have to start wondering what the right is going on.
Yes.
I know we only have a few minutes, but I just want to make the point to you and the audience is that this narcissistic defense is so strong. And that's why people will literally, proverbially hit their head against the wall of this narcissistic shell because it's non-permeable. It's a defense mechanism against opening to truth, which will lead them in their mind not to freedom. In their mind, they think it'll lead them to pain. They don't want to open it up. They've been too wounded. They have a lack of trust. And so what they have done is they have cauterized their feelings, meaning that they have developed a thick skin to empathy, and now they're apathetic, meaning the best defense against pain is just to burn out the feelings.
Absolutely.
Burn it out.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Do you know what? Maybe for everybody out there too, if we want to see the positive side of it, the positive side, the bright side of it is if they wouldn't be like they were to me, I wouldn't get ever the possibility to grow up that fast and see what I see and know what I know, and I'm so happy, and in some way they helped me. You know what I mean?
No, I totally do. And I call these things cursed by design. So when sometimes we're presented the most amount of pain and the biggest challenge, sometimes it forces us to open our eyes. It forces us to do the inner work.
Yes, exactly. A blessing in disguise.
It's exactly beautiful. Right. It is beautiful. It's beautiful if you make it beautiful. It's beautiful if you take it as an opportunity. Okay, and we all have choices. Yes. We could either be at the effect of it or we could be the cause. And that's what I mean by be the cause, is that you're turning something around. You're making a paradigm shift. And instead of being at the effect of, you're looking at it, deconstructing it, breaking out of the psychological prison of the lies, seeing the truth, and moving forward into the truth. Okay, so I know we are out of time. But feel free to communicate with me. I know you've been trying to, and we finally connected. Thank you very much for staying up waking up so early. And to all my audience, if you want to avail yourself of a free consultation, please do. If you want a download of my Be the Cause Healing Human Disconnect PDF, request it. I also have a beautiful team of therapists who help people through this mind map journey and recovering from narcissistic abuse. We also have the mind map video series that I created that will take you through this journey. Tony, if you don't mind putting it up there, copy of the book and the video so people can see it, and you can order this. And it's best done in conjunction with a therapist leading you through the process. So I want to thank you, Reem, for joining me and expressing yourself and being the truth teller. And everybody can start cracking this system gone wrong for themselves. And it is a journey. It's not the easiest journey in the world. And that's why it's important to have a pathway to healing and not just a random therapy where you just talk about things without a vision of what happened, how to process the feelings, and then how to shift out of all the mess. So I will be back. And again, thank you everyone for your call in and for being a listener. And I will see you next time. Good night, everybody.
And if you've enjoyed my show, please subscribe to my channel. If you need help,